Welcome back, family and friends. Hope all is well. I don't want to take too much of your time. Want to jump into something I love, which is civics, and I also enjoy foreign affairs and how foreign affairs relates to the United States, relates to the UK, and relates to African diaspora countries, and all over the world is great. Don't get me wrong, in addition to that, I just enjoy the United States, UK, and African diaspora countries, what they have going on and how what they have going on relates to the world. And so I want to jump into this article, something I've been following, keeping up with when it comes to foreign affairs, international relations, global affairs, and it's dealing with BRICS. I'm not sure if you've heard of this. And one of the reasons why I wanted to bring this up was because we just finished a daily insight, which is what we're doing now. We did finish a daily insight a few days ago that focused on ambassadors at large when it comes to civics. And we talked about the diplomacy that you have to have at the international level and how you're able to represent and work with your own country while engaging engaging with and advocating on behalf of your country with another country, if that makes sense. And so that could be at the international level all the way down to the local level. When I say local, that can be in your own home, in your neighborhood. What does diplomacy? What does advocation? What does ambassadorship? What is leadership? What does all that look like? And how are you able to use that in your life? But also in a tricky game called civics, how are you able to use that when you're dealing with people, dealing with cultures, dealing with policies, ethnicities, and everything in between. So we're going to jump into this article real quick. And shout out Al Jazeera. There's many sources that I like to go to internationally just to find out various perspectives. And so some people may or may not follow Al Jazeera. I'm not sure. I try to follow as much as I can and get as much diverse perspective as I can. So we'll get started. I want to shout out who is there? Or is there a author here? I want to shout out the Al Jazeera staff. This article was written on the 22nd of October, and the title is Russia's BRIC Summit, What's on the Agenda and Why It Matters to Putin. Give me your thoughts before we even get started. I want to see them in the comments. Is this relevant when it comes to the United States, United Kingdoms, African diaspora countries, and of course, global affairs? And what comes to your mind? And of course, we always want to be professional. We want to be respectful and honorable in all the comments that we make. If we just don't have anything truly positive or if we have something that's going to bring more challenges, I thank you in advance for not saying them and putting the comments in there. And so if you don't know what's going on, BRICS, what is it? Let's jump into it real quick. BRICS, we had the Wikipedia, but I'm gonna come over here to BRICS. BRICS is an intergovernmental organization comprised of Brazil. BRICS is an intergovernmental organization comprising of Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Iran, Egypt, Ethiopia, and the United Arab Emirates. The founders of BRICS were Russia, China, India, and Brazil. To me, respectfully, movers and shakers in their own right as far as nations and what they do. And you definitely want to recognize the moves that they make respectfully because they're looking out for their interest. And it's very important from a global perspective just to be aware of what's going on so you can assess and adjust, whatever that looks like. As a human being, I speak nothing but truth, or I speak upliftment, empowerment, and the best quality of life for all of us as human beings. I mean, first and foremost, and I hope and have faith that we're able to move cohesively together as a unit on this planet. And that's always going to be my forefront in my thoughts. And so when I'm reading information, it's not because I'm taking sides or something's right or wrong. It's not about that. We're just exploring information, putting it into our what's the word I'm looking for? Our database. That's the word I'm looking for. I forgot the word I'm looking for. We put it into our repertoire. I don't know why I want to say that, but that's not it. But I want to put it into our repertoire and if I'm saying it correctly, and move forward. And so let's go ahead and jump into this article. I'm just rambling at this point. Thank you for liking, subscribing, following, uh, sharing this information. And if you feel donating what you felt this message was worth to you. Here we go. Russia's BRICS summit. What's on the agenda and why it matters to Putin. The summit, which leaders from 24 nations will attend, is the largest event Russia has hosted in years and a signal to the West amid the war in Ukraine, analysts say. I'll repeat that again. The summit, which leaders from 24 nations will attend, is the largest event Russia has hosted in years and a signal to the West amid the war in Ukraine, analysts say. And I'm still following, I'm always following articles, and I do know that right now the United States should continue. I'm not quite sure what that looks like, but needs to build relationships with various nations. And there's other countries that are doing that. I do want to shout out Her Excellency, Dr. Erikana Shimbori, good friend of mine. She was the former African Union ambassador to the United States. So she was ambassador to the African Union, and she represented the African Union and was the liaison between African Union and the United States during President Barack Obama's administration. And so she's always been very vocal about the West and those relationships. And that's why I wanted to bring this to your attention, just to see what's going on. What's going on here? Just in the picture, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, forgive me if I mispronounce that, second from right, at the Kazan airport to attend the BRICS summit hosted by the southwestern Russian city from October 22nd to October 24th. So today's the 22nd, I believe. So that's going on today. I didn't even know that. So from today to Thursday. Here we go. Make sure we're good here. Oh, we're great. Russian President Vladimir Putin is hosting the annual BRICS summit, which started on Tuesday in Russia's southwestern city, Kazan. The 3-day conclave will be the largest gathering of world leaders in Russia in decades and will be held at a time when the Kremlin is locked in a war with Western-backed Ukraine. Thoughts, please. Leave them in the comments. So what is on the agenda and why is the summit significant? What is BRICS? BRICS stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. The group started in 2006, and Brazil, Russia, India, and China convened for the first BRICS summit in 2009. South Africa joined a year later. Is that important? Should people care, respectfully? These countries are movers and shakers, if you ask me. I don't know the details about them, but I do know they're movers and shakers. South Africa is a mover and shaker, in their own right. And so I wanted to see what was going on here. The aim, when I say mover and shaker, what I mean by that is I'm not saying they're right or wrong or positive or negative, but they are a nation, to me, that holds influence. When I say mover and shaker, they hold influence, and I feel they're about their business, whatever that looks like, and so we have to be very wise in the nations. And so, for example, BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, and China are, from my understanding, indirectly on the rise. South Africa is moving that direction. Respectfully, I think India and China right now have a challenge going on with their border that they're working out right now. I think there may have been talks of negotiations about that, but I believe there were, some actual challenges going on in real time, for a few weeks. I think it started back in 2017 or 2020 when the military of India and China connected kind of like a neutral zone. And I think there was some hostility there. And I believe that has kind of gone on from there to today. And I believe those two countries have had a quiet conflict and are working that out right now. Just a side note. The aim of the alliance is to challenge the economic and political monopoly of the West. I'm going to repeat that again. The aim of the alliance is to challenge the economic and political monopoly of the West. The group sets priorities and has discussions once every year during the BRICS Summit, which members takes turns hosting. The summit is the 16th held. It's a big deal, y'all. Definitely a big deal. In 2023, BRICS extended invitations to include Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and United Arab Emirates after these countries applied for membership. Saudi Arabia has yet to formally join, but the others have. And so now you have BRICS, but then you have these other countries, Egypt, they're just a long-term standing nation. Ethiopia, if you're familiar with them in the world, the imprint they've made in the world over time, as well. Iran, Saudi Arabia, so these are some pretty influential countries, y'all. An invitation was extended to Argentina at the same time, but the South American country turned it down after President Javier Milei, elected in December, campaigned on the promise that he would bolster ties with the West. Relationship management. As an advisor and a consultant dealing with business development and community engagement outsourcing, all that deals with relationship management. And I'm very proud to serve as a relationship management expert to make sure that folks are either increasing their customer base or increasing their presence, especially in urban areas. And that work is dealing with people, emotional intelligence, communication, and that work does fall into government relations at some point. And so I've been very fortunate to go through a lot of different experiences through business, government, and community relations. And that's why I wanted to share this with you, because I didn't want to take this information and, of course, be the one to hoard the information and continue to connect with these business, government, and community leaders to advise or to direct. I want to open up, the world that comes to me and bring it to your attention so that we can all learn and grow together. And so even at the local level, these are things that I keep in the back of my mind, because it's some kind of way, I'm not sure the details, but they tie in. I could be speaking out of ignorance. Let me know what you think. Who is attending the BRICS Summit? 24 world leaders attending the opening of the summit on Tuesday. Leaders of BRICS member countries, including Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Chinese President Xi Jinping, and South African President Cyril Ramaphosa are attending the summits. And if I mispronounce your names, please forgive me. UAE President Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, Iranian President Mossad Pezeshkian, forgive me for mispronouncing your names, Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, and the Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed have also all landed in Kazan for the summit. So the world leaders are in the building, and if I mispronounce your name, my apologies. Leaders of several other countries that have shown an interest in deepening ties with BRICS are also participating, including Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and Vietnamese Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh. Forgive me if I mispronounce your name. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva canceled his trip to Russia after suffering a head injury in a fall at home on October 19th. Foreign Affairs Minister Mauro Vieira will now represent the country at the summit. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres is also expected to attend and meet Putin. On Monday, Ukraine's Ministry of Foreign Affairs criticized Guterres, saying that while he did not accept an invitation to attend a Ukraine-backed peace summit in Switzerland in June, he did, however, accept the invitation to Kazan from war criminal Putin. This is a wrong choice that does not advance the cause of peace. It only damages the UN's reputation, according to the article, end quote. In March 2023, the International Criminal Court, ICC, in the Hague, forgive me if I mispronounced that, in the Hague, let me see if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Okay, I can't do it. Haji issued an arrest warrant against Putin, accusing him of the war crime of illegal deportation of children from Ukraine. What's on the summit's agenda? The central theme that unites BRICS members is their disillusionment with Western-led institutions of global governance, especially when it comes to the economy. The sanctions imposed on Russia after its 2022 invasion of Ukraine have spooked many global South nations, worried that the West could weaponize tools of global finance against them. In the aftermath of the war in Gaza, Russia and China have more effectively harnessed this anti-Western sentiment, capitalizing on frustrations over Western double standards, as well as the use of sanctions and economic coercion by the West. Asli Ayabentasbas, forgive me if I mispronounce your name, a Turkish foreign policy expert, said in the comments to the Brookings Institute, a Washington D.C. think tank, it doesn't mean that the middle powers want to trade U.S. dominance for Chinese, but it means they are open to aligning with Russia and China for a more fragmented and autonomous world. To that end, BRICS partners want to reduce their dependence on the United States dollar and the SWIFT system, an international messaging network for financial transactions that Russian banks were cut off from in 2022. So to that end, the BRICS partners want to reduce their dependence on the United States dollar and the SWIFT system. I'm not in this. I'm not at the table anyway. I just want to be aware. This is public information, and so we're just reviewing it. But I guess why I wanted to bring up the article, because I know BRICS is making moves, and it looks like some of their focus is to reduce their dependence on the United States dollar. How does that affect the United States? How does that affect the world? I don't know. That's why I'm bringing it to your attention so we could talk about it. I don't know. So, but they want to reduce dependence. Moving on. In 2023, Lula proposed a trading currency for BRICS members, but experts have cautioned that any such initiative might be riddled with challenges. In August, Indian External Affairs Minister S.J. Shankar also expressed skepticism about how realistic a BRICS currency might be. Instead, BRICS members are now working on using their national currencies more for bilateral trade to insulate them from currency and fluctuations and cut their dependence on the dollar. China now has an alternative to the SWIFT payment process. Through limited in use, in countries like Turkey and Brazil increasingly restructure their dollar reserves into gold. Tisbus said, again, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your names. Currency swaps for energy deals are also a popular idea, all suggesting a desire for greater financial independence from the West. Financial independence from the West. Why is the summit significant for Putin? Since Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, the country and its leaders have grown isolated. A month after the start of the invasion, Canada, the European Union, Japan, New Zealand, Taiwan, the United Kingdom, and the U.S. unveiled a slew of sanctions on Russian banks, oil refineries, and military exports. There have been more sanctions on Russia and its allies since. The ICC arrest warrant against Putin also means he can't travel to countries that are signatories to the Rome Statute, a UN treaty that established the courts without risking arrest. The Rome Statute. I'm going to look that up at some point. We won't do it today. Okay, I got to get that part together. In 2023, he skipped the BRICS summit in South Africa, which is a party to the treaty, amid pressure on Pretoria to detain the Russian leader if he were to attend. Western leaders are also largely unwilling to join Putin in any multilateral setting. Putin skipped the G20 summit in India last year, even though New Delhi is not a party to the Rome Statute. Against that backdrop, the Kazan summit has been symbolic and practical importance for the Putin regime. Angela Stent, a director of the Center of Eurasian, Russian, and East European Studies at Georgetown University, said in a comment to the Brookings Institute, the summit will demonstrate that far from being isolated, Russia has important partners like India, China, and other major emerging powers. Those are the words I was looking for. These nations are emerging powers. At the minimum. These nations are emerging powers at the minimum. The expanded BRICS group now represents about 45% of the world's population and 25% of global gross domestic product. I didn't know that. So the expanded BRICS group now represents about 45% of the world's population, almost half, and a quarter of the global GDP. Wow, didn't know. What's next for BRICS? BRICS is continuing to expand. Southeast Asian countries have recently expressed an interest in rejoining the alliance. At the BRICS dialogue with developing countries held in Russia on June 11th, Thailand said it wanted to join. So BRICS has a dialogue with developing countries. And Thailand said they are open to joining. On June 18th, Malaysia expressed interest in being part of BRICS just before Chinese Premier Li Qiang visited the country. Please forgive me if I mispronounce your name. NATO members, Turkey also formally requested to join BRICS in September. That so many countries are willing to go to Russia, deemed a parish state not so long ago for having violated international law by invading Ukraine, confirms a trend followed by an increasing number of countries in the world. They don't want to have to choose partners, said Tara Varma, a visiting fellow at the Brookings Institute. So that's the end of the article. And this is my first time reading the article. So we read it together for the first time. I didn't know what to expect. And that's where we are. You know, I don't know if this is of any significance, of any importance. Let me know what you think. But I do know respectfully that, I don't want to, hey, look, one of the greatest things that one can do is just watch and listen. The less you say, the better. I think Winston Churchill said, the truth is incontrovertible, malice may attack it, ignorance may deride it, but in the end, there it is. Now, that may not have nothing to do too much with my saying, but some things just don't have to be said, and we just listen and we watch. No right or wrong, but I wanted to bring this to your attention, bring this to my attention. And I know I'll have some more civic articles to cover. I will be doing some video reviews as well, but I do enjoy reading articles. I do enjoy reading. And so a lot of the information is usually in the words. So in between the words, if you will. So in between the pages. So we want to make sure we read as much as we can. Let me know what you think about this article. Let me know what you think about BRICS. Let me know what you think about some of the countries that are currently members, thinking about becoming a member. How does this latest experience affect the Western countries? What does that look like? And if nothing else, I just pray that our leaders are able to use, and again, I don't know what goes on behind the scene and all that comes into decisions, but emotional intelligence to include patience and looking for solutions that will help develop a working relationship, I hope is the case. How do we develop a working relationship? How do we be wise in our words? How do we know how to think before we speak? Some things we can't take back. And that goes for me. And, so for that reason, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you again for liking, following, subscribing, donating in the amount what you felt this message was worth by visiting one of my accounts there that you see. And please make sure, and thank you in advance for visiting my website to find out more information about what I do. Lord Danavan Hilton, for those that don't know, fun fact, I am a registered Lord of Glencoe in the country of Scotland, courtesy of Highland titles. And so I'm always doing things to stimulate myself, stimulate others, stimulate conversation. And so check out my website. I do offer a one-time free 20-minute virtual private advising session to talk about business, government, or community relations, help you generate more leads, create more brand awareness, help you with your cross-promotion opportunities, as well as just see where you are if you have a challenge with a project, and especially in urban areas, and you need some insight, maybe some access or some resources, you can definitely reach out to me as well. Do all you can in the free 20 minutes. After that, that I am charging for the advising sessions. I do offer monthly retainers as an advisor, and I also offer free and paid training opportunities for you to become a better leader, customer service representative at the minimum. And so thanks again. Thank you for liking, subscribing, following, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.